Bayern Munich respond to Liverpool's Olise transfer interest with contract stance. Latest Liverpool transfer news and gossip, with an update on the future of Bayern Munich star and former Crystal Palace winger Olise, who has been linked with the Reds. Olise of Bayern Munich. Liverpool have been given a fresh update on the future of Bayern Munich star Olise. The Reds have previously been credited with an interest in signing the France international, with reported interest emerging during the summer transfer window. It was a busy summer for Liverpool, with 8 new signings being added to Arne Slot's squad. The Reds spent more than £400 million on new signings, but also sanctioned the exits of some key players, including Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, Jarell Quansah, and Kamhin Kelleher. The final days of the transfer window saw Liverpool linked with a move for Olise, and the rumors are yet to diminish, even with the new year still more than 3 months away. Now, a fresh update has emerged claiming that the Reds may still be in the running to sign Olise. Bundesliga expert Christian Falk has reported to his CF Bayern Insider column that Liverpool are watching Olise and are joined by Manchester City in expressing an interest in the former Crystal Palace star. There is a suggestion that Bayern are determined to award Olise a new contract in order to fend off interest from rival clubs. It's yet to be known what price tag Bayern would demand for Olise, but it has been suggested that an offer in the region of €100 million, £87 million, could force the Bundesliga giants to make a decision. Olise has scored 4 goals and the same number of assists for Bayern across the first 8 appearances of the season. Liverpool will have to wait until January to strengthen their squad with any more new signings. A new center-back has been mentioned in reports as a priority piece of business for the Reds following the injury to Giovanni Leoni. Arne Slot faces major Hugo Ekitike decision as Liverpool consider defensive overhaul. Liverpool are next up against Galatasaray in the Champions League, with Arne Slot facing some selection posers. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot. Liverpool were on the receiving end of late drama this time when they were beaten 2-1 at Crystal Palace on Saturday afternoon in the Premier League. Ismaila Sarr put the Londoners ahead early on, and although substitute Federico Chiesa equalized in the 87th minute, Eddie Nketiah notched deep into an elongated additional period to send the Reds tumbling to their first top-flight loss of the campaign. Arne Slot's side now face another major test of their Champions League credentials when they travel to Turkey to take on Galatasaray on Tuesday evening. Indoor, and here we look ahead to the changes Slot could make when his team are next in action. Konate concern. There has been plentiful rotation from Slot in recent weeks, and that is likely to continue again as Liverpool prepare for a second of 3 away games inside 8 days. Right back has proven something of a problem position, with neither Connor Bradley nor Jeremy Frimpong having properly staked a claim for a regular start. Dominik Szoboszlai has arguably been the best in the role this campaign when playing out of position, while Joe Gomez is another option. Gomez is also an alternative at center-back, with Ibrahima Konate having struggled at Palace alongside skipper Virgil van Dijk. Wataru Endo could also feature in defense over the coming months with Giovanni Leoni now out for the season. At left-back, Milos Kerkez has edged ahead of Andy Robertson once more, although the latter has started Liverpool's 2 midweek games so far this campaign, including when scoring in the Champions League opener against Atletico Madrid. Alisson Becker demonstrated against Palace why he is the world's best goalkeeper, with Georgi Mamardashvili ahead of Freddie Woodman as the Brazilian's deputy. Wirtz decision. Slot attempted a different midfield approach at the weekend, with Florian Wirtz operating in a free role before returning to his recognized number 10 position after halftime. It seems unlikely the Liverpool boss will veer from his regular 4-2-3-1 in Istanbul, but Wirtz will be under pressure from both Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones for a start, although he impressed against Atletico a fortnight ago. Szoboszlai, Jones and Endo are also alternatives to Alexis McAllister, alongside Ryan Gravenberch at the base of the midfield, with the Argentina international still struggling to regain full sharpness after injury. Teenager Trey Nyoni started the League Cup win over Southampton last midweek and is likely to be among the substitutes. Gakpo back? With Hugo Ekitike back from suspension and Federico Chiesa now part of the Champions League squad, Slot has a decision to make over who leads the attack, with Alexander Isak having got through 84 minutes on Saturday. Chiesa is also an alternative to Mohamed Salah on the right after the Egyptian had a rare shocker against Palace. Cody Gakpo will be pressing for a recall on the left flank, with 17-year-old Rio Namoha once again getting minutes from the bench at the weekend. Jadon Danns, though, is out having suffered an injury when playing for the Under-21s at the weekend. Micah Richards admits Liverpool player is starting to worry him. It was a day to forget for many of Liverpool's players against Crystal Palace, but one in particular has got former Manchester City defender Micah Richards worried. Former Manchester City defender Micah Richards has spoken about Ibrahima Konate. Micah Richards has admitted Ibrahima Konate's form is worrying him after the Liverpool defender's poor performance against Crystal Palace. Konate endured a torrid afternoon during the Reds' 2-1 defeat at Selhurst Park on Saturday, with the 26-year-old making a number of mistakes that could have played his side into more trouble had Alisson Becker not produced a string of superb saves. The Frenchman struggled against his compatriot Jean-Philippe Mateta and was left walking a tightrope after picking up a yellow card for clumsily hauling the Palace striker to the floor, with his second-half substitution feeling inevitable before it eventually arrived. Although he was far from the only Liverpool player to underperform in London, it was the latest in a line of concerning performances from Konate. The defender struggled in the Reds' opening few games and came under criticism from Jamie Carragher, among others. Konate had improved in recent outings, in particular against Arsenal, but Saturday's poor showing has once again raised questions. Konate is starting to worry me a little bit, former Manchester City defender Richards said on the BBC's Match of the Day. Ibrahima Konate struggled against Crystal Palace. Him and Van Dijk have been a good partnership, but his individual errors at this moment in time are just making the backline look a bit nervy. You know, Liverpool always look good in defense. Van Dijk always marshals the backline, but they give Palace too many opportunities for no actual reason. It was just being sloppy, and that is so unlike Liverpool. The questions over Konate's performances come as speculation continues over a move to Real Madrid next summer. His contract at Anfield is due to expire at the end of the current season, and talks over a new deal have stalled this year, raising the possibility that he could leave as a free agent. Konate has responded to supporters this season amid the backlash over his performances, having replied to one fan account earlier this month. The problem is some of you forget too quick, only after 2 games. Liverpool.com says, Konate needs to be doing his talking on the pitch rather than social media. It's no good pointing to your past performances when you are playing as poorly as he did against Palace. If those sorts of displays continue, then the backlash from supporters is only going to grow, especially with no sign of a new contract. It's up to Konate to change that opinion, and he's not doing that at the moment. Alexis McAllister sends disappointing message to Liverpool fans after Arnslot fitness update. Alexis McAllister took to social media after Liverpool's defeat to Crystal Palace on Saturday. Alexis McAllister of Liverpool applauds the fans following the Premier League match between Crystal Palace and Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Alexis McAllister has urged Liverpool supporters to stay positive after the Reds suffered their first Premier League defeat of the season away at Crystal Palace. Federico Chiesa had appeared to rescue a share of the spoils for Arne Slot's men with an 87th-minute equalizer, only for Eddie Nketiah to then net a 97th-minute winner for the Eagles. Despite the 2-1 loss, Liverpool remain clear at the top of the table. They boast a 3-point lead over second-place Palace, though Arsenal will leapfrog the Eagles into second and reduce the Reds' advantage to 2 points if they beat Newcastle United on Sunday. McAllister started in midfield at Selhurst Park, completing 65 minutes before being replaced by Curtis Jones. The Argentina international has admitted it was a disappointing defeat against in-form Crystal Palace, with Liverpool, not for the first time, not at their best. But the 26-year-old has called for positivity as he looked ahead to the Reds' trip to Galatasaray on Tuesday night. Disappointing afternoon, he admitted on Instagram. Time to analyze, rest and go again on Tuesday. Long season ahead, so let's keep positive and go for it. McAllister is one of a number of players yet to hit top form for Liverpool as he continues to build his way back up after long-term injury. The Argentine saw out the final month of last season after helping the Reds win the Premier League title and was ultimately sidelined for the best part of 3 months before making his preseason return at the end of July. He has made 7 appearances for Liverpool so far this season and has started all 5 of his Premier League outings. But he has failed to last longer than 65 minutes since missing the Reds' trip to Newcastle United through injury last month. Forget Konate. Liverpool's £125 million striker goes missing in Palace defeat. Liverpool's unbeaten run is over. A last-gasp Eddie Nketiah strike sealed Crystal Palace's 2-1 win at Selhurst Park, leaving Arne Slot fuming. Fans pointed fingers at Konate, but it was Alexander Isak who truly vanished. The £125 million man managed just 19 touches in 84 minutes, fewer than anyone on the pitch. Even Alisson touched the ball more. Isak fluffed a golden chance to equalize, while Cody Gakpo's introduction did little to trouble Dean Henderson. Without suspended Hugo Ekitike, Slot had no choice but to keep Isak on. But patience is running thin. It's not just Isak. Florian Wirtz is also struggling to justify his £116 million price tag, looking lost on the left wing. Liverpool's £241 million duo are quickly becoming a problem, and the pressure is piling on Slot. Arne Slot, frustrated with Liverpool's set-piece defending. We have to do better. Arne Slot was rightly frustrated with Liverpool's approach to defending set pieces. After conceding from a corner and a throw-in to lose 2-1 at Crystal Palace, Slot went into Saturday's trip to Selhurst Park knowing Palace were defensively strong and particularly adept at attacking set pieces. He set his side up in a questionable 4-2-2-2 formation from the off, which changed to a more orthodox 4-2-3-1 at halftime with Liverpool 1-0 down and struggling to break Palace down. Their biggest concern, however, came when facing set pieces. Ismaila Sarr opened the scoring from a Daichi Kamada corner before Eddie Nketiah won it at the very end following Chris Richards' long throw. If you want to compete, you need a very positive balance with set pieces, and even more so in this league, Slot told Sky Sports. It was one of our biggest strengths last season. Now we have conceded 2 against Newcastle and 2 here. But this league is more and more about set pieces. Nketiah's winner was particularly frustrating for a number of reasons, not least that it was avoidable as Milos Kerkez conceded the set piece due to his inability to clear with his right foot. Liverpool could not deal with the chaos Richards' arrowed throw caused, and the ball fell to the former Arsenal striker to finish. In many ways, this defeat had been telegraphed, with Liverpool riding their luck more often than not in a previously unbeaten start to the campaign. It is never ideal when you concede an extra time, but there was a sub, so half a minute extra was fair, Slot explained, avoiding any rhetoric over additional time. I have to check when they exactly scored, but we have to defend the throw-in better. We take learnings from all the games we have played, and we can take even more from a game like this. In many ways, this defeat had been telegraphed, with Liverpool riding their luck more often than not in a previously unbeaten start to the campaign. The onus falls on set-piece coach Aaron Briggs to continue working on their setup in defensive situations, with Slot's comment that it is an area the Premier League is more and more about ringing true. Palace will not be the last side Liverpool face who employ long throws and cleverly devise physically dominant corner routines. Next time, they will need to be better prepared to deal with them, as with Virgil van Dijk 6'5", Ibrahima Konate 6'4", Dominic Szoboszlai 6'1", Ryan Gravenberch 6'3", and Alexander Isak 6'4", all starting they weren't without the height required. Liverpool make decision over January centre-back signing as Marc Guéhi boost emerges. Exclusive with Graham Bailey. Liverpool will look into the possibility of signing a centre-back during the January transfer window, rousing the cop has been told. The Reds were keen to buy 2 central defenders during the summer market, with Giovanni Leoni and Marc Guéhi identified as top targets. Liverpool brought Leoni in from Parma, but a last-minute change of heart saw Guéhi's move blocked by Crystal Palace. Liverpool were happy to go through the season with only Leoni added to Arne Slot's squad, but an ACL tear has since ruled the 18-year-old out for the season. As a result, RTK understands that the Reds are now looking into the possibility of bringing a new signing to Anfield in the January window. A move for Guéhi has not been totally ruled out, but Liverpool are aware of and beginning to explore other options as well. Liverpool could bring forward Marc Guéhi pursuit. Liverpool had clearly not anticipated a need to add another center half before the end of the season, and were not understood to be planning a January approach for Guéhi. However, Leone's injury means a winter move is being considered at Anfield, although much will depend on the asking price from Crystal Palace. Palace chairman Steve Parish is still understood to be keen to recoup a fee for Guéhi, and RTK have been told that the Eagles may only sell for £20-25 at him. For Liverpool, that is likely to be too high a fee for a player who can be signed for nothing 6 months later. Nevertheless, it is understood that the Reds have not ruled this out completely. They know Guéhi has plenty of other suitors and are weighing up whether paying the money to see off these competitors in January could be worth it. In that respect, the option of a mid-season move is being seen as a potential boost by some inside Liverpool, with other clubs such as Bayern Munich and Barcelona only willing to wait until the end of the campaign. Dayot Upamecano and Charlie Cresswell could be options. Although he remains their first choice target, Guéhi is not the only player Liverpool could look to sign in January. Dayot Upamecano is in an identical situation to the Crystal Palace captain at Bayern Munich, and Liverpool could look at the Frenchman depending on the fee demanded and the state of their center-back options at the time. As RTK exclusively revealed last week, Liverpool are monitoring Upamecano, and while a summer move is more likely, a January approach cannot be ruled out. Meanwhile, Liverpool are aware of other potential targets. Toulouse's Charlie Cresswell is one player they have scouted and is someone who could be on the radar again should they choose to wait for Guéhi and/or Upamecano.